Hi guys. No fancy intro today because we actually have something serious to talk about. But first of all, yes, my hair is a little wet, so apologies for that. I know I look kind of like a hot mess, but that's always. Anyways, so I do have something kind of important to talk to you about, and I've been thinking about not necessarily if I should make this video. Honestly, this video was kind of spontaneous more than anything. But I was thinking more of if I was going to talk about it, how I was going to address it, because, obviously a lot of people have said a lot of different things, and a lot of things definitely have sparked different interests or disinterests for that matter. So there's a lot of different things that are going around. And one thing I do want to note is from how I'm going to talk to y'all, I don't want this to come off as I'm trying to gain political brownie points or anything for anybody, that I'm doing this because I feel that it's necessary for a content creator to do this. Although I think a content creator should talk about this idea because, obviously they have such a huge platform. I don't have a huge one, but, I still have people that I can talk to. And, I just want to make my points clear of what I feel on the situation. And it's not because I feel like I'm being pressured or anything, because making people pressured about saying something, they're just going to say whatever makes people feel happy. And that's it. Generally, especially with people who are a little bit bigger, of course, with celebrities and all that. So again, I'm not saying what they're saying is, I'm not trying to invalidate anybody, but what I am saying is you do need to be especially careful of people in these types of situations and know where they kind of truly come from, because sometimes it's hard to figure people out, and sometimes they'll say one thing because obviously anybody can say anything they want on the internet and feel something totally different. So that's just something that you just need to be on the lookout for if you're going to be looking at stuff like that. But I do want to make myself very clear on how I felt about what happened with George Floyd and how everything went down. So obviously, well, it should be very obvious at least, none of that should have happened. Wrong, unacceptable, inhumane, everything under the sun like that. Horrible, terrible. Okay? There's no questioning that. There is no questioning that. Whatever he did, he didn't deserve that. Okay? Now, friggin', they were treating him as if he murdered, like a group of people or something like that. But it's a little funny that other people, like I believe his name was Dylan Roof, could murder 9 different people, and yet he's doing just fine, wasn't detained horribly. You could see how he was handcuffed. He was handcuffed pretty gently, for killing 9 people. And George Floyd was put down pretty harshly for apparently counterfeiting money. What? How does that make sense? That to me, complete racism. There is no way to dance around the subject anymore for anybody. I feel like it is complete and utter racism, and it is disgusting that we are still dealing with this. And I know people say this ironically, but that we're still dealing with this in 2020. That we still have to go all about this once again, that a lot of things don't feel like they're changing or at least growing at the pace that they should be. And I'm especially horrified by the fact that I know so many of my younger viewers and that so many younger people are witnessing this worldwide, and they see racism as ugly as it is. Though it is also, in a sense, I don't want to say good, because obviously what happened was not good, but I'm glad people are taking more of an approach to this situation rather than just letting it go, because in the past, just letting it go has never worked out. Okay, now I do want to briefly talk about, I know I look very white, but I am half and half. Kind of like half and sweet tea. You need a little bit of both sometimes. But I do my mom is fully white. She's mostly Greek. My dad is Hispanic all the way, so I'm half and half. So on my dad's side in particular, I'm not saying my mom has not faced prejudice herself. her family came from Greece. My mom's mom had to deal with a lot of crap, for not speaking English. It was harder for her to get in this world. And, my mom, can go through different things because she's just a woman. But on my dad's side, I have definitely seen what racism has looked like. And I don't want to go too much into it, y'all, but just know that something did basically happen to him. And that race was the factor in what happened there. And it's something that should have not happened. And it's something that I feel was very unfair and unjust. So I can understand that point that people talk about, that, white people definitely do have a sense of privilege over people of color, especially, like black people, as we've seen time and time again. There is something known as white privilege. Now, I know a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of y'all, but, there are some of y'all out there that are just like, oh, white privilege, oh, here we go again. Someone else is talking about it. Even I was like that too in the beginning because, people just throw that out there and don't explain it very well. I feel like they just say, oh, you have white privilege. Okay, well, what does that mean? I feel like if you don't explain something to the sense of people, they're just always going to, a lot of lack of communication is there, but there is such a thing. There's definitely such a thing because you don't feel like you're going to be threatened to go out just in public to the mall, wherever the case may be, where there's police, and you don't feel like you're going to be in danger because, they might pull you over for some random thing. And then, that might end up getting you killed. And some of y'all might say, oh, that's ridiculous. Well, George literally, supposedly counterfeited money. Okay. And he got killed very harshly too. I mean, he was calling out for his mother, y'all. A grown man does not call out for his mother like that unless he knows something is wrong. So I can guarantee you that he definitely knew that his time was coming because of what was happening. And that's such a sad thought. I mean, just to even, comprehend that he knew he was going to die because of what was happening and how hard that guy must have just, it's a terrible, terrible thing that happened to him. Okay. And unfortunately, he's not the only one that this has happened to. So I definitely think this is something that we should all be aware about. And the reason why I'm talking to y'all about this is because, first of all, I want y'all to know where I stand on this. And as you can tell very clearly, I am opposed to any racism, to police brutality, to anything like that, because it does not need to exist and definitely doesn't need to exist in the future as we go into making of the history that we are now. I just hope that we can find peace and love into the future that we are going to, that when all is said and done and all this bad crap that has happened can transfer into something positive, that we can see a change for once happening, right from our very eyes. And I just hope that it comes very soon. And the second reason is, again, I'm not speaking of this because I feel like I need to, or because, it's a thing that you need to do right now, but it's something that's not even really a political matter at this point, I feel like, because, again, I've told y'all too, I am not a liberal, I'm not a conservative, and I'm not saying I'm a perfect centrist or anything like that, but I just believe what I believe, and, I love to hear different points of what people are making because I don't want to be so closed-minded to an opposite side. But for this is not a political matter. This is a matter of human lives, okay? And people are being unjustly killed, and there's just so much crap and injustice from racism alone that it's something that needs to be spoke out about, and that we need to make sure that we stomp it right in the head and get rid of it, because this is not, again, something that belongs in 2020. This is not something that belonged ever, but it's definitely not something that belongs now and not in the future. And hopefully that when the people grow up, and I'm especially talking about younger people now, when they grow up and they see the results of this, that they can see that, what, this is definitely not supposed to happen, and we should change the world for the better. And this is also, why I'm speaking about it. Again, I don't have a big platform. I don't. But I feel like this is something that everyone should be aware of, that this is something that we should all be fighting for, that this is all something that we should be at least concerned about, because this is not something that should be happening. Now, I do want to make it clear as well. I know a lot of people definitely point the finger at USA for having this problem. And there is a problem. I don't want to undermine that in any sense. There is a problem with police officers, police brutality, and people of color, especially black people. But at the same time, racism is not just confined in the USA. Racism is everywhere in the world, okay? And this is why we have to talk out. So I don't want to always say too broadly, but this is why we should always talk out more out there and not just within our little space that we have. The more that we can try and get rid of racism out in the whole world, the better, and maybe, we start small, like I said, start with the USA and go further. I mean, whatever your kind of thoughts about that, it is what it is. But at the end game, at the end goal of everything, we just want racism to be completely wiped off the map and just be gone forever. Now, will this ever happen? Well, maybe in paradise and maybe in kind of a utopian society. But then again, there'll probably be other problems with that as well. You're just never going to escape problems. But I don't think ever racism is ever gonna go away. But what we can do is stop it in its tracks before it gets too extreme and too violent, to the point where people are just getting killed left and right because of their skin color. We don't need to regress people. We don't. It's very interesting to me that sometimes when people hear about, that I have mixed parents, people are like, what? Still to this day in 2020. I mean, I've talked out about, I have a white mom, I have a Hispanic dad. That's what I've known. And people are like, what? Really? And I'm like, yeah. And for some reason, it completely baffles people, and I'm like, wow, that's really crazy. That's the life that I know. But a lot of other people only know, like they only have both white parents or maybe just both Hispanic or something, This is why we definitely need a sense of unity here, okay? Because something as simple as mixed parents or a mixed child should not be so like mind boggling or, ground shattering or anything like that. And something as simple as black people not wanting to get killed by police should also not be so mind boggling and ground shattering. Okay. That's plain and simple, basically what I want to talk about. Now, you may have different opinions about looting. I know I'm mixed on this subject. I feel like some people are just taking advantage of the situation and saying, oh yeah, it's for Black Lives Matter. Do I believe all that? Not necessarily. I think some people are just out there to get free crap. Okay. But at the same time, there is no comparison when comparing inanimate objects to human lives. Human lives are definitely far greater than anything that can be sold out materialistically. So, although I might not agree fully with how the riots are going about, obviously I agree with protests in the manner of peacefulness, but at the same time, I understand the frustration. If you felt like you could potentially be killed because of your skin color, or someone else, or you've heard about so many times about people of your skin color, and just in general, if you've heard about this of another human, it should just not be of your own people. We should be caring about one another no matter what. But just to hear about this over and over again, I can understand that there would definitely be some frustration there, So at the end of the day, would I fully agree with it? No. But at the same time, again, a human life is greater than an inanimate object, and it's not something that should be compared one and the same. A lot of people I see, especially on social media, they'll be like, oh, this looting was wrong and this and this and this. And they'll talk about more how that's wrong than George Floyd's death. Now that I don't understand. And that kind of puts you in a negative light, buddy. I'm not going to lie. I mean, like I said, obviously I don't agree with the lootings and everything either. But if you're just solely talking about that and not the fact that a human life was taken away so unjustly, I think that's where a little bit of a problem rises. So, anyways, guys, that's basically what all I have to say. I don't want to keep this horribly long, and I don't want to just drone on and all that. But I just wanted to let y'all know what my thoughts and opinions are on this. And that I'm definitely against what happened to George Floyd and against what happened to everybody that went through this through police brutality. It's not right. And it's definitely a call. It should be a call of awakening for a lot of people that this is real. And unfortunately, it's not going to change unless we do something about it. And unless we start speaking up and making our voices heard that none of this is right. And we should not let this be tolerated anymore. So with that said, guys, that's all I have for y'all today. So thank y'all for watching, guys. Please stay safe. Whatever you may do, please keep yourself safe. Make sure you have a friend if you go into protests or anything like that. And just be prepared for anything. We're in a very crazy time right now, guys. 2020. I posted on my freaking Facebook that 2020 was going to be year of change on New Year's. Go figure. I did not expect it to be this kind of change, but all right, this is the change we're dealing with, so we might as well deal with this change now before it gets too out of hand. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, guys, I will see all of y'all in the next video or stream. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.